Well, Lionel, I can't thank you enough for joining us here tonight. I'm a huge fan.
And as am I.
Well, thank you very much.
Maybe I shouldn't sit with my back to the window.
No.
You, my friend, are right. Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know, I only became aware of you during the 2016 election, but I listen almost every day when we're not being thwarted by black hat hackers or Boko Haram terrorists or the Pakistani ISI. I'm sure to tune in to the show.
You are under. I have this thing I do at night before I go to bed. Well, I shouldn't say that, but this other thing I do before I go to bed is I listen to various YouTube things. It's very, very, soporific, very sedating, except for you. I'm thinking, sometimes I say, what is he saying? Now, Vault 9, understand something. It's a Tango Alpha Bravo with a hectare. The hectare, Oswald comes in, Daesh, Vortex, and here you are. The light, can we do the light?
Well, I'm trying to demystify. The material is very dense.
You say, anyway, the person who killed Kennedy, would you get the goddamn thing up? I'm telling him who killed Kennedy.
That's one of the things that I love about you is that you go into the topics that a lot of people would consider conspiracy theory.
And then disregard them.
Well, no.
But
You've got a very you've got a very intellectual approach, contrary to what we're discussing at the moment.
Yes.
You've got a very intellectual approach to these topics, and you bring in Richard Belzer, and you bring in people who are experts in all this stuff, and it's, I think, really something that people should be looking at. There's a bit of a pattern to these things that just get dubbed conspiracy theories and then get summarily dismissed.
Gore Vidal said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a conspiracy analyst.
Right.
That's my favorite.
Well,
but what you're doing, though, is just, oh my. Let's start out from the beginning here.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll be 59, I guess, this year in August. So when I grew up, we had AM radio, it was great, and then FM, that was great, 45s, 8-tracks, cassettes, these are great, DVDs, FM, that kind of hot talk, Boss Sound 70s, cable, and then the original Tandy computer is a computer. What am I supposed to do with this? I remember one time doing a morning drive on ABC, and they said, and one day people are going to have their own website. I said, what's a website?
Right.
All right, then we got that. So, and I realized we were on this incredible, this vectors, like, my God, this is amazing, genomes, and oh my God, this is within a short amount of time. But the entertainment didn't get any better. It's like, come on, guys.
It got worse in many cases.
Yes, that's the part that gets me. It's like, come on, go.
Yeah.
There were people in the old days, Gene Shepard on the radio, and then my father killed my kitten. It's like, this is compelling. And today we've got all this stuff, satellites, like, you suck, you're horrible. So, okay, we were just plummeting. Oh, guess what? Now there's this raw talent. And I say this because it sounds like I'm being disparaging. No. But you don't know what I'm saying. Oh, that's true. You'll change your mind when I get done with you. But don't baffle them with the lights or whatever. Tell them the story. Just really basic stuff, raw talent. So it's the most minimalistic of the most profoundly complicated electronics, but your message. And I was telling somebody, just this guy outside of the building tonight, I said, you don't understand radio. It's God love it. This is, I feel like I'm a part of a revolution again.
Well, I'm really glad to hear you say that.
It was a long way to go just to say that one particular, I feel like a revolution.
I love listening
but I
to
tend
you
to embellish
pontificate.
And that's
great.
It's very desultory.
Your alliteration, the poetry of words that you choose, it's one of the things I think that listeners really enjoy about you.
Yes, I are. Absolutely.
Now, of course, we've spoken quite a bit about how you've been a prosecutor and you're an attorney, or you used to be an attorney. Are you still practicing?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. Because so many legal issues come up in the news that people don't understand.
Oh.
We had Comey testifying
Obstruction
today.
of justice. Nobody knows.
Right. It just seems like they come out with any old kind of urination
Well,
dossier. And
let's do one you like. This is my favorite because everybody knows criminal law.
Right.
You know, some lawyers know the law, other lawyers know the judge.
Right.
This is my favorite.
Wow.
And I used to always, on my business card, I had innocent until proven indigent. You know, but, and also one was, I'm not a missionary. I don't do this. This is a business.
Right.
But can we talk about Seth Rich? Can we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Greatest
Whatever
story
you
in the
like.
world. And I've been screaming this. They said, well, you know, Seth Rich was found shot twice, what, twice, 3 times in the back?
Twice.
It was a botched robbery. I said, wait a minute, hold it, stop. Why was it a botched robbery? Well, there was nothing taken. It's not a robbery. The JFK assassination was not a botched robbery. They didn't take anything. No, it was an assassination. Where did you even? Where did this robbery come in from? Well, well, stop saying robbery. Don't even. It was a hit.
Right.
Come on, Columbo.
right. Yeah.
This is easy. Stop calling it a botched robbery. That's just.
The interesting thing about Seth Rich relative to the investigation that I've been assisting George in is that people who have just come to our channel now think we're investigating the Seth Rich murder. But that's not really the case. This whole crowdsource investigation and everything that Crowdsource the Truth is all about, the most fascinating aspect of it is George started investigating the disappearance of Eric Braverman. The organic nature of how the crowd input shapes the direction that the investigation goes in led to Seth Rich. And frankly, although the murder of Seth Rich is a big deal, it's like a symptom of the bigger thing, which is the infiltration of the IT department at Congress by members of the Pakistani ISI, and the whole, I don't know if you realize this, but last night Julian Assange tweeted a coded message at George.
Well, we don't know that for sure, but he came back with another
Or it was drunk and it was gibberish, you know. The
This
duck lays
Nadra,
on the ground.
the Nadra, second day in a row was a nice, but you have to be a little bit of an inside baseball for that. But
That's it. It's
but,
so complicated.
But the part I love, first of all,
Wait a minute, hold it. Did he or did he not?
He did, and let me explain how we know that. We're talking about two minds that operate on a level that regular brain can't absorb. It took me 3 viewings of this thing. I mean, I shot it the first time it was coming in live, and George was reading it out. I had to watch it again, and then again, and ask him questions to even understand what it was. But the names in the message from Assange correlate directly to the names of the key players in the investigation that George has been conducting for 230 days. So George, please explain, help us all understand.
One of the interesting things is the Awan brothers are moving secrets. So there's a spy ring on Congress, and they're moving secrets out. And one of the areas is satellite technology. So all the things that sit on top of satellite technology. Well, 230 days into this, and all of a sudden, Julian Assange, who I had known just very briefly in Australia when I worked with Sun Microsystems in Australia, he had come to a couple of Unix programming days. He was a kid at that
And by
time.
the way, that's not UNIX. Those are actual Unix. Castrati, because you're a sick.
So Assange.
Yeah,
had you in Australia.
well, I had seen him as a kid. It was just, you know, they had programmer kids, but he was quite precocious kid. But anyway, I had tweeted about, I've been not tweeting, but doing the story about this satellite technology moving over, and all of a sudden he takes this email that he wrote to the president of Pakistan, this is a Pakistan intelligence group that's moving this satellite technology, and he tweets it out, and it's
from 2009. That
from
email.
2009.
So why did he tweet it?
So
2
out of the
days ago?
blue, he tweets this out, and it's the key players that I have in the house at one of these spies' houses in Virginia is Malik, Soraya, or Gilani, and also Imran, and those are the people that are the first 3 names in the email. So it was kind of an odd coincidence. But then today, to do another Nadra email, which is kind of their national voter database, and that's what I was talking about with the American technology, was just a little uncanny. Now, if tomorrow he does another Nadra,
It's beyond uncanny.
then that's
I mean,
3.
If you watch George decode this message, Lionel, I'm telling you, I was watching history happen. It
We'll
was
see.
amazing.
We don't know yet, but we'll see. Yeah.
If this were any other situation, you'd be called a psychic or no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
He sees things, understands things on a level
That normal people can't understand.
Well, but you're trained in that, and to you it must be like, well, this is what we do.
Yeah.
I can't remember to lock the door when he leaves, but this stuff he's got.
Well, you know, it's, Oliver Sacks did this book called
Yep.
The Man Who Forgot His Hat, because he would be thinking about so much that he would put
Clearly.
his hat, and it would be his wife's face, you know. It's like he's thinking about something else.
That old line.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am. I mean, like I say,
George, you're
the simplest
genius,
things.
like no other.
But driving in New York.
Has not anyone ever said to you, "You're coming with me to Washington. We're gonna deputize you. You're gonna be a super attorney, deputy assistant attorney general, and you're gonna get to the bottom of this. And I want somebody to debrief him." I mean, has anybody? Am I missing something?
A lot of people say that, and I say I'm wholly unqualified for that. And Kallstrom is the guy I want because
Jim Kallstrom, I know him very well.
Yeah, he's the guy that we need as the deputy. He was in line to be that guy in '95, I think, '96, and there are just few people with more integrity than that, and that's who I have my hopes for. This Ray guy, you know, Enron and other things, I'm not so excited.
Jim Kallstrom, though, aside from just being a tremendous law enforcement, is just a great human being, great wife, great people, funny, human, real, not this bureaucrated.
And does he live in New York as well? Wasn't he part
I can't answer that, George. Suffice it to say.
Undisclosed location.
Got that, George. On the truck, Alpha, Niner.
So, Lionel, could you weigh in on some of the things?
No.
Like, we were, last week or 2 weeks ago, we were in Washington, D.C., and we wanted to have a conversation with Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh.
She's very closely tied to the activities of these Awan brothers. Now, I'm sure you saw that she was threatening Chief Verderosa of the Capitol Police, saying that there would be budget cuts and other consequences if he didn't return the stolen laptops and the stolen Blackberries that the Awan brothers are accused of. 20 burglaries? What was it, George?
20 congressional burglaries.
And I mean, is that just unprecedented for a congressional representative to be threatening the police to turn over evidence in an ongoing
Well, there's one question
investigation?
which has always bothered me more than that is, what is in her hair? Is it oil?
Oh boy,
Is it a silicone polymer?
That would have to be a scientific exploration.
I mean, you could lube a Kenworth with that, just like in the wheelbarrow.
You got it.
No, the answer is yes, they can do it, and because they can.
Who can do it?
She can do it because nobody's going to stop her.
She can demand evidence in an ongoing investigation?
Well, she has to be stopped. She has to be, and nobody there. Put it this way: if you're speeding and nobody's there to catch you, you're going to speed. This government, this population, nobody seems to care. They're asleep. So when you bring this stuff up, you see, first, what you're too, not too smart for people. You have too much information. This doesn't get their attention.
Right.
You understand?
Too complicated.
We have been either
headline
narcotized or by virtue of fluoridated, where we are on a parallel. We're like between stations. This country's a.
You're right.
But if somebody says, Trump put in a Kofifi or whatever the hell it was, and we are off to the races.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
You're right.
And I think that was almost like a planned experiment to see how far that would go. So in a very circuitous way, good luck with this, because but let me just stop right there. There are people who are watching and listening, who are saying, no, you go. Mm-hmm. We're with you. Mm-hmm. See, in the old days, going back to my days, there's 3 networks. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'd love to have you do this spot of things on your bathroom that can kill you, but I've got a half an hour shot. And I'm Walter Cronkite, and that's a stupid story. Right. Not anymore. Now it's 24/7, feed the runaway train. Can you, Jason, you got the story about the bathroom thing? Yeah, can you do it in a 12-parter? So with that, but with that, there's now also people who are saying, well, forget TV, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
You go ahead. And this has empowered people, and when you start not a movement, but when you tell people, join me, help me, drive these people crazy, go to this website, hashtag this, blast them, and have somebody say, what the is this thing? What is this? Who is this? And then call people and ask. Prior to this, nobody could do anything. We would be in the wilderness just watching this, hoping. Right. So, you've got about 12. I mean, this has got to just get to you where you say, why am I even bothering with this? Nobody cares. What am I doing, risking my life? And
well, we care, you know? And it's interesting, there are a lot of people who care because the Crowdsource the Truth YouTube channel literally went from 96 viewers to over 11,000 in less than 2 weeks. And, you know, when you and I were speaking earlier, we were talking about social media and all that kind of thing. I really started this, and it coincided with listening to you and getting more into Alex Jones and InfoWars and sort of what people will call the alt news. But I just became so upset that friends of mine were sharing, you know, information on Facebook that was just obviously false, and I felt like, you know, you've got a platform now. We've sort of got this responsibility to one another to use it responsibly and not just spread nonsense. Now, I've heard you speak about you had a professional relationship at some point in your career with Rachel Maddow. I was so disappointed in her, and I come back to it often because she's got a huge platform.
Why?
Well, because she goes on and on for 20 minutes about a non-news item with the taxes,
for God's
and
sake.
has Chuck
First of all,
Schumer on there threatening Trump with the don't mess with the
you want her to stop?
deep state.
Take away her $25 billion, and
Working
she'll go
on it.
back to the way she used to be talking about whatever it was that she talked about.
Right.
Oh, look, it's a work. It's professional wrestling. It's a work.
Right.
She figured out, she hit pay dirt with them, and they said, Rachel, we're number one. What? We're number one doing this? Okay,
she's gotta run
more
with
of it. Here
Right.
we go. 20 minute soliloquies and apostrophes in that clipped assistant principal style. What is this? I'm thinking, this is number one on MSDNC. This is, which by the way, in comparison, you still have baby monitors that do 3 times the number. So, no, I'm serious. In the scheme of things, we'll go right out here. People know who she is, and I don't want to take anything away from her. But let me tell you something. They were on fumes for a while, and it works. And what she's doing is they say, Rachel, you're doing great. And when the people from, whoever runs NBC, Universal, they say, good for you. And here, by the way, here's
More
your
money.
check.
Right.
Yeah.
She told me one time, she's very funny. She said she lived in an apartment so small it was the size of a van, and she had a very and so now she's thinking, this is fantastic. I'm a sellout. You better believe it.
Yeah.
And there are people who also will say, good for you. And I'm doing a lot of clapping for somebody. But it's nonsense.
It is nonsense.
See, what I like to do is this thing called the truth. First, let's start with the premise. I don't care about parties. Are you a baseball fan? Yankees or American?
I'm not.
Okay. If you're the Yankees, they go, American League. Huh? What? American League. You're an American League fan. An American League? No. That's the thing. Oh, you're a Democrat.
Right.
Needless demarcations of that. You know, American League. Oh, you're a national. Oh, you're a national leaguer. What do you? No, I don't think like that. So I don't care about that. I'm a political atheist. So I'm not committed to anybody. And people think, you know, that I'm a Trump fan. I like what he's done inadvertently, but if you'd stop with this nonsense, maybe I could better address what he's doing.
Right.
I don't even get to that. I get to this other kind of stuff. So, Rachel Maddow, don't even worry about that.
Not worried, but
What do you think of Alex Jones? Let me ask you.
I like Alex Jones. I watch InfoWars. I met Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew. Love David Knight. You know, I think that's a good channel. Obviously, that doesn't mean I listen to every single thing he says and program
Why do
my
you got to
life
qualify
based
that?
on it.
He's qualifying.
Because a lot of people are going to
Like the
respond
Beatles,
to that.
not every song. Ringo, I never understood.
We had a little bit of a row the other day
What about
over
you?
something that was said.
Well, I like most of the folks on there. I go by, you know, personages. And, you know, Dr. Jerome Corsi, we did an interview. He is great, just
Yeah,
an
we love
incredible
Dr.
intelligence mind. I probably trolled Steve Pachenik a little bit.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was watching something that was interrupted about Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought, this is great.
It's good to hear you
And
say
Steve
that.
Pachenik, by the way,
Got triggered by that.
whose name, by the way, is a sobriety test. But he probably said, this is great, keep talking about me. This is
Yeah.
great, that's exactly what I want to do.
Well, and we're experiencing that. We've got now, because the notoriety surrounding the investigation and everything has kind of really exploded in the past week or so, we've got a lot of detractors who are coming out of the woodwork, really. And in a similar way, yeah, you know, we don't care about that, but the thing that I'm finding most interesting about it is I come back to this, you know, the Steele dossier, the PP dossier, as it's been dubbed.
It's not golden showers. All right? Again, this is not a botched robbery. I'm a
Right.
definitional person. Golden showers is urolagnia. It's a variety of things. Somebody urinating on you, defiling you, water. Not somebody peeing on a bed. That's called loose bladder. It's called enuresis. That's something else. Marking your territory. That's not. So stop calling it that.
But the troubling aspect of it is, it's a document that has essentially no basis. Yet they're banging on it so hard for so long that it's now led to a possible impeachment. So while
isn't that great?
It's just crazy. And so while I acknowledge that our viewers say, Jason, don't pay attention to the trolls, I'm totally with that. The thing that is of concern is that they take something totally baseless, like I'm a porn star, I'm a Mossad agent, my name is Brian.
You are so innocent. You're such a.
You don't know me that well yet.
A lamb.
But I'm definitely not a porn star.
This is nothing. One of the things interesting about impeachment, and I love doing the tutorials. Like, class, impeachment. Number one, it does not mean removal. Number one, it means charging. You don't want to impeach him and say, boy, I'll tell you what, the person who killed my dog, I'm going to charge him. No, you mean you want to put him in jail? No, I just want to charge him, and then that's it. I'll walk away and go, there you go. Consider yourself indicted, my friend, and we're going to leave. So impeachment is just that step one. It's the conviction and the trial of the Senate. That's it. And then we get to this other aspect about that. You can impeach him. Because the question is, what is an impeachable offense? What is it? What does the Constitution say? What? Nobody knows. They say it's such a brilliant document. It's a piece of shit. It's stupid. They had different committees that put them together in order of a more perfect union. More perfect.
It's got to be.
Second Amendment, I don't know what that is. I don't understand it. So they said high crimes and misdemeanors. What is that? I don't know. Hurry up. We're getting late. They're going to hang us. We've got to get to Article 3 now. So the question is, what even is that? And Gerald Ford in 1970 said, it's whatever the House agrees to.
Seems crazy.
And then other constitutional scholars said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me the president serves at the whim of the Congress? And I said, excuse me, constitutional scholars, who are you? Who are you? This is the Constitution.
Right.
Wasn't it brilliant that they did this? No, it was a mistake. They left it out. They weren't clear because later on. And the other part of it is, no, it has to be an indictable offense. It has to be something that's indictable. And forget the misdemeanor part. We don't even know.
Seems unnecessary.
Jaywalking?
To throw in misdemeanors after high crime.
Yes, but did it mean they could? 51% if they did.
So you could basically impeach a ham sandwich is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Saul Wachtler, the great New York jurist, said anybody could indict a ham sandwich. That was his line. He's a great friend of mine, and it's true. So anyway, if you want to do that, then what you're doing is you're telling the folks, guess what? This is a revolution. This is a soft coup. What you've done is you've just had one branch of the government remove somebody and undo the 64 million Americans who voted, by the way, because of Russian tampering.
Well,
because it was all mind controls, you know that.
We're finding out quite a lot in the course of the investigation how the NGP van database was manipulated and how voting, Alex did a story about this with Bev, I forget her last name, Bev Harris.
Yes, black box voting, or what's it called?
There's a lot of
Did the Russians do anything?
Well,
Did the Russians?
I can't say that
I think there may be a Ukrainian connection, but I'll save that for more evidence.
No,
they're
please.
not Russian.
Because I'm getting tired of it. It's like,
No,
when you've had to sneeze, oh, damn. I'm at that stage. Just show me.
We have determined that the Russians did tamper. However, it was Russians living in Alexandria working for CrowdStrike, not anyone
Well,
working
that's
for Putin.
another thing, too. Who is this disaffected? I like to say he's a Russian defector. You don't defect from Russia. He's a defector from Pennsylvania.
Expatriate.
No, but I saw that he is the one
Alparovich.
who basically, see, they never specified which Russia.
That's right.
Yep, they're technically right.
They are lawyers, and they speak very carefully. They parse the words so that, we didn't say which Russian.
But this is very, very critical. If somebody said, hello, my name is Igor Yanovadovich. Let me show you this. Trump got 3 votes. We put in the rest. Now, that's tampering.
Right.
As opposed to, did they want to? Yeah. Not the way we do it. 1950 Iran, Operation Ajax, Mossadegh, the Shah, you're out. Tampering.
That's tampering.
No, we remove him. So, but this, if you say something, and I love the idea of the psychology of it, because if I tell you something, remember Star Wars, speaking of great psychological treatises, when Obi-Wan said, these are not the droids you're looking for. These are not the That's it. The Russians are there. Okay, yeah. You sure? Absolutely. 17 agencies, which one? Forestry? Noah?
What's the power of suggestion, isn't it?
You just say it, and you also perseverate, you habituate, and you say something, and just don't ever say cognitive dissonance, because that word has been
overused.
When you do Periscope, is not that one of the most fascinating mind fart?
Yeah. you can't really get any intelligence.
And then
from
one
Periscope.
phrase will. One say what?
That's interesting.
Someone will say, a long name like Dmitry Alparovich in amongst cool, LOL,
Right.
and
Right.
love you, and then you're trying to get that. What?
Right.
That diamond. You're trying to grab the diamond, it's gone. Yeah.
It's been a challenge. We've been dealing with that streaming format.
But that's no. Work with it. That's okay. No.
But it's like a crowd shouting at you.
No, we
Yes,
want the other. It does not matter. And I get this sometimes. And by the way, you always get. Let's go back into something. There are people who, for whatever reason, are. I think the word's called a pain in the ass. They sit at home.
That's technical
They
terminology.
sit in their parents' bathroom covered in Cheeto dust, they're sitting there, and they're wearing a wife beater. Can you say that? But it's like, I don't have any friends yet. Fuck you. They're Putin in their gut. Anyway, so they will also say, why don't you talk about Qatar? It's like, I'm not talking about, why don't you talk chemtrails? Why don't you talk about that? Would you talk about this? How dare you? You don't know. I'm getting the George Webb thing. Have you called him yet? I'm going to save the email. I swear to you. I was like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, and they're like,
have you called him yet? Here's his number. So today I wrote, said, love your stuff. Okay, I did it. Now leave me alone, whoever you are.
You can put this behind you now.
They just do, but that's okay. That's okay. That's a part of it. But you're also, but let me explain. The crowdsourcing is what Reddit kind of did. And when I remember Stephen Avery, the Making of a Murder, the stuff. I'm a trial lawyer, and they went through the transcript. I'm thinking,
it's amazingly powerful.
This is the most brilliant.
The cream rises to the top, doesn't it?
You don't need expert. I don't know what an expert is. This is when you unleash this, and it rises. It doesn't become the like some arcane, aspect of those people. But I'm just googling it. You're everywhere, and just wait till it exponentially takes off. And this is why I feel we're part of this revolution.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you something. Ultimately, what do you want? If I can say, okay, guys, I'm a master of the reality. What do you want? I will make it happen. What is your goal? Indictments, arrests?
For me, I just want someone in the White House press room to say Iwan brothers, because the first thing you have to have is entity recognition before you can do anything. I mean, if you have a spy ring, and how hackneyed is the Russian narrative, it's over and over, it's a year now. We haven't heard the Iwan brothers said in the White House press room yet. Louis Gohmert is the one representative that read in a little bit of the Iwan brothers into the record. No one has ever said anything since then. So even Chernovich, I've tried to get him to say Iwan brothers. And
in the press room.
In the press room, Lee Stranahan. And if Donald Trump Jr. would say Iwan brothers, or Eric would say Iwan brothers, or Trump would tweet Iwan brothers, that's all I need. Because then everyone will look at the evidence. We've got 7 King James Bibles worth of sources and citations, most of them in the source documents. Then the next set are Pulitzer Prize winners, and then down to me.
Reporting
way down to me.
But
most of them are sources and citations from really well-known journalists. Dana Priest, Washington Post,
And where is this tough Pakistani lobby that prevents you, that dread Pakistani, go, don't bring them up?
That's not the way it's working, really. I mean, the thing that I'm finding so interesting is just like this whole dossier was manufactured out of nothing and has now become a legitimate challenge for President Trump, we're seeing the same exact tactics being used against us. Now, you talked about the comments demanding that you talk about off-topic things. We get that too. But when we say, no, we don't want to talk about Pizzagate, it immediately goes to, oh, George is a child trafficker. Now, if anyone had actually watched the full series, they would know that organ trafficking, child trafficking, these are rat lines that George has exposed, These are all part of it. But see,
and what a clever child trafficker to expose what he does.
Right.
That'll throw him off.
that's the thing, is that it's what the detractors are saying makes no sense whatsoever, and only proves that they're either trying to stop us, totally unaware of what we're doing.
Yeah, but you can't let this, you can't even even acknowledge, I mean, you acknowledge
the problem with not acknowledging is that my fear is that it goes to the stage of impeachment, and we don't have the resources of Donald Trump or the President of the United States, so we're trying to...
impeachment of...
Well, in other words, I'm saying Donald Trump has all the money in the world to hire all the lawyers he needs.
Right.
So if someone sues him for, let's say, an allegation came out that he had raped a 13-year-old girl, I looked at that because a friend of mine posted it on Facebook, and I said, well, wait a minute, that's shocking. Let me look into it. And he had said, like, Donald Trump has a rape trial coming up. And I looked at it, and I was like, well, I don't know that this is a criminal trial. This looks like a civil suit being brought by a Jane Doe for something that happened 19 years ago. And that's not to say that allegations of rape should not be taken seriously, but I think we all agree that we want to live in a country where people are considered innocent until proven guilty. And
It would be nice. Yeah.
One thing that the internet has really damaged. You just come out with an allegation and then so many people believe it.
Unfortunately, with the, well, a couple of things here. With the proliferation of information and data, whatever that filtering system is gone. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they said that after, Mr. Gutenberg, he was like, thanks for the press. Nah, they son of a bitch.
Ruined everything.
There's these pamphlets that he keeps putting out, and nobody should check the pamphlet. Okay, but, and also what's very interesting is that there was a time when New York Times against Sullivan and these really tough laws made it a real hurdle for people in public figures to sue individuals who defame them. Not anymore. That is whittling down. That's changing drastically.
We actually got a very interesting question today. I don't know if you even saw it. It was on one of the YouTube videos. Someone asked me if it's illegal, because George is sometimes saying, okay, I'm ready to name the Seth Rich murderer, this guy Alpha Jallo, okay? And the question is, hey, isn't it illegal to just accuse somebody of murder without proof? And I think that's a very good legal question for you to explain to our audience. Is it?
Well, if somebody, illegal, civilly, if somebody says...
As a journalist, for George to make that declaration.
Just to put a finer point on that, I saw the movie Absence of Malice with Paul Newman, and this was not something that I had stated. I wasn't saying Alpha Jallo was the murderer. I was saying other people have reported Alpha Jallo as the murderer, and now here are the reasons why this is important to the Seth Rich case, which was SVR, the Russian externally facing intelligence, was looking at his communications very carefully for some reason. Now why? Well, it's not because he ran a car theft ring in New York City. They don't really care about cars being stolen in New York City or New Jersey with the 22 different people. What they care about is their diplomats being killed. And lately we've gone through a lot of them, Russian diplomats. So the SVR report was saying, hey, he's communicating with these people at the Clinton Foundation, at the DNC, these kind of shady union guys in the back. What's going on here? Because bodies end up dead in near his trail. The SVR is not going to be following him if they're not saying...
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. So that's what I was really saying. I was bringing out in the story. Later, I came back the next day and said, as soon as I found out he was coming out of jail, can we get up to Brooklyn? We want to go up to the Boko Haram clubhouse. And, I couldn't wait to get up there, and no one has called yet.
Eventbrite's not selling tickets for the Boko Haram clubhouse?
I would love to. I did this. I went to the Al-Shabaab clubhouse in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
And sat with 22 guys, and everybody said I would never come out alive, and we had a great time. It was 2 hours.
You want to party with Scrunchy at Boko Haram?
I want to party with Scrunchy.
Okay. A lot of clubhouses.
But it was during the day, so.
You bring up a good question, and the question, the answer always is, what are you doing? Are you making a statement or are you making an opinion? And you can take that so far. You can say, I'm not saying, in my opinion, so-and-so is. Sometimes you skirt around the issue. So what you're doing is the law always protects an opinion, or you saying the truth and that other people are saying, and that sort of thing too. But it's just the sad part is some people just just cower because if they're sued, they say, oh, I don't know what to do. It's like, great, you want to take discovery? You want to do this?
Well, that's what I'm
not
actually
going to, obviously.
And you nailed it. That's what I'm trying to incite is discovery. So because I think during the discovery process, whether or not I personally benefit or not, at least a light will be shined on this issue, which is we're not just talking about the top technology secrets being moved out of the country and all the satellite technology, but we're also talking about the people they work for sit on the most sensitive committees.
Why is it that the people in the John Stossels and the, forget CNN, they're gone, but I mean, why is it that other people are not more engaged in what you're doing and willing to help you?
It's an interesting question.
Sometimes I have to troll, because it just seems like one of those third rail topics that people just don't want to talk about. There's so much fronting with using Pakistanis as human shields. Like I always say, this is not an anti-Muslim thing or anti-Pakistani thing. It's not even an anti-Pakistani ISI thing. It's anti-Pakistani ISI on Capitol Hill stealing our secrets.
Yeah.
That's what I'm...
And if it's Russian, no problem. I love the matrix, if you will, of thought. Give me an example. Certain things, the old joke about time, tragedy plus time, you can, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you like the play? That's funny now, not that. Certain things, 9/11 has been one of my favorites, okay? That's just one, because it is one what after another, okay? Mm-hmm. And mine's a little easier because at least it was in the papers. You've got to describe the names and who is it? Seth Rich, who? SEI, who? And when did it, Debbie Wasserman Clinic, Wasserman Test? Syphilis, right? What are you talking about? So nobody knows. So so I asked people, and I thought maybe there's a way to lure people in to the question without them thinking that I'm hitting them over the head. Maybe if I should say,
well, that was the Clockwork Orange, because...
that's the Pachenik thing, which I still want to find out.
Well, so the real title of the movie is A Clockwork Orange, and I said Steve authored A Clockwork Orange, meaning any place where you develop a rat line, a disaffected youth becoming gangs, doubling the military spending in order to create more security spending, and this gang, counter-gang kind of concept. So I said, because he was the Deputy Secretary of State, right, for Henry Kissinger, so what I was saying is he's authored A Clockwork Orange. As a matter of fact, several Clockwork Oranges. So I just, I threw that out there knowing that this would be maybe bait that would get taken, and he didn't. He just came back and said, I'm a dumbass.
I can see right here Lionel starting to appreciate the mind, the thought process. It's uncanny.
So he really shot you down there. No. Okay.
Well, he just put
angry, really.
He did what I wanted, which is he put a whole bunch of pictures of Clockwork Orange up, and he said Anthony Burgess wrote Clockwork Orange. I said, thank you, Steve. That was beautiful. Now I get to play chess with Kissinger. You got to play your way up the chess tournament, and now I get to play with Kissinger. So.
Well, Pachenik is a fascinating person. The way he suggested that, you always have to ask this terrible question. If somebody really knew what they were talking about, why are they alive? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You got to ask that thing. Alex Jones is the most important. I'm sorry, whether it's he's the Beatles and Elvis of this thing he broke through. Megyn Kelly's trying to hang on to his fame trail. But of course, you say, well, Alex, he's Mossad. His wife was Jewish.
That's what they're saying about us.
He's paid for by the Mossad. And me, too, is like, you're Jewish. You're a Jew. I said, I'm a retired Catholic. What are you talking about? But I am now. And you can always tell by how long somebody uses the word Jew. He's a Jew. And they say, well, he's a Jew. And, he's a Zionist. What's a Zionist? Shel Silverstein, pull it. Not that again. Not Shel Silverstein. Larry Silverstein. Oh, Shel Silverstein. Boy named Sue. Bring him into the 9/11.
With the crayon.
Those damn poems
but,
did it.
But you have, but I don't know. To me, everyone, if you tell me about it, say, now I'm going to be Pachenik. Hey, would you, if I ever talked to you, would you, this Clockwork Orange thing? Yeah. Yes or no, Steve? Yes or no? Answer it. I mean, I don't. I run to these issues. What's wrong with
Yeah, so he didn't actually sit down and write Clockwork Orange. Anthony Burgess did write it, but the CIA wrote treatments, you know, and said here would be the kind of, you know,
on their site.
Yeah.
Have you seen the office of whatever the type of the CIA website? If you have a script, you know, we'd like to be able to help out for authenticity, psyop, wink, wink.
punch it up.
Would you like to take a picture of a naval? You can even come by and do our, come by Langley. We'll show you around. You can film. If you don't mind if we write it for you. And I said, it's on the...
People don't know this kind of thing. So that's what I'm interested in, is cutting through the nonsense, what you call the sock puppet, fake stream news, and talking about these real issues. How could anyone be on board with allowing a foreign intelligence agency to run the IT department of Congress?
Well, the first thing is it has to be so simple that you lure people into it and they don't know they're into it.
Right.
You lure them into it and you start talking about IT, and I would wonder who would be, you know, there's a federal statute, it's rarely enacted, called misprision, where you do not report something.
Right.
Now I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who the technical part of the FBI is who would handle this, but the question I would have is, why are you not, I've got it right here, why don't you say, I'm on this right away, thank you.
Well, that would
Obviously.
be Mr. McCabe standing in the way of that.
How's it, remember his wife was running for
State
South
Senate.
Carolina? State.
Virginia, yeah.
Virginia.
State.
Right, Virginia.
675,000.
And then she dropped out?
Yeah.
Kept the money.
Well,
Well-
and it was 2 days after the Hillary Clinton email server broke too. So the current state Senate candidate was literally forklifted out. Terry McAuliffe called him and said, "Oh, by the way, you're not in there anymore. We're putting in your wife Cindy," and she had no idea she was running.
Well, that's what happened to Hillary. Was Anita Lowy? I think she said, "I'm going to run for senator of New York." No, you're not. You're in. Okay, sure.
Oh, this
It
was
always
Hillary.
comes back to
Oh,
Hillary.
that was in 2002.
You
yeah.
don't want to mess with Hillary.
Yeah. No.
Well, I'm over that bridge.
Now, speaking of this, there is something. This is the most amazing. It goes back to my perception and awareness thing. Give me an example. Years ago, there was a show on, and sometimes my memory, you know, you think you remember something, and then you talk to somebody, and they say that never happened. But this is what I think happened. There was a show called West 57th Street. It might have been Meredith Vieira, or it might have been this guy, Farrugia, the guy with the mustache. And they interviewed. They said, tonight on West 57th Street, we have right now affirmative proof that this faith healer is completely bogus. What we've done is we've called the Amazing Randy. This is true, the Amazing Randy, and he's able to pick up a wire transmission where his wife, this man's wife, is out in the audience, and he's going and saying, "Oh, what's wrong with you? My husband has sugar diabetes." And she goes back and she tells him through these earpieces, "Row 3, thwart end, fat lady, husband has sugar diabetes." And the Amazing Randy, you know, tuning this in, you can hear the wife say, "Row 3," and all of a sudden, "You're fit." So they sit down and said, "Reverend Beecham, yes, I want to show you something." "Yes, ma'am." And they pull up this thing. Go, "Is that you?" "Yes, ma'am." "Listen. Is that your wife's voice?" "Yes." "So it's not the word of God, is it?" He goes, "No, ma'am. It's your wife, isn't it?" "Yes, ma'am." "What do I do?" "So you're a faker?" "Yes, ma'am." "Okay." Now, I've never forgot that. That and professional wrestling, where you suspend reality. You say, this 300-pound man just hit him as hard as he can in the face. That would kill him. No, it won't. You're right. All right. So when you tell people something over and over again in a group of people, over and over again, and you show them something, going back to Hillary. Hillary all of a sudden wore these Fresnel lenses, these prismatic glasses, funky black, and you can they zoom in, and the internet, there it is. You see the multiple levels of prisms, and this for diplopia, for double vision, because of the series of concussions that Bill wrote about. I didn't write about it. He wrote about it. Folks, she's got brain damage.
Yeah. Well, we knew that.
Okay. Then after 9/11, talk about symbolic, she keels over.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah.
It was 70 degrees. She's wearing the bunker gear and the Mao outfit and the oven mitt. Remember that? She's like this.
Well, we want to get her an orange one.
Well, yeah. Well, that ain't gonna happen. Well, she loses her shoe, and anyway, they throw her in the car. The next day, after she comes out of Chelsea's hospital, because they can't take her to Beth Israel, whatever.
Right.
She's wearing these Zeiss 1 blue photosensitive lenses for epilepsy.
Right.
The Don Was glasses, and I'm saying, there she. Look, I'm not a neurologist. It's like, if I see crutches, I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. I think people say, well, you're just a conspiracy.
Right.
It's not no, I'm not. Nobody conspired to give her the brain damage. You got it wrong. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Well, the guy who sold her the crutches.
This is hidden. What do you need to know? So you think you're going to explain?
Yeah.
Pakistani IT, what?
It's complicated. It is.
Well, it's a series of steps on a staircase.
Doesn't matter. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And just, I think that what happens is with these folks, with people like Cernovich and Alex and others, I see now you've got me intrigued. I want you to be wrong. See, that's the thing. Hey, let's prove George wrong. So let's look into this and call up and get a letter from somebody that said, would you look into this? Or, I mean, if you went to the field office at the FBI and say, is there anybody I can talk to about this? I've got the information.
I've done that many times.
Yeah,
and what did they tell you?
Well, it's just, here's the phone number, here's the PIO.
It's just obstruction.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually, that's the whole thing with, crowdsourcing the investigation and the Crowdsource the Truth YouTube page and the Facebook group is we want people to prove us wrong because that strengthens the overall thesis and hypothesis. It's not about being
I'm
right.
corrected every day.
Right.
I don't think and again, it's not about me. I'm kind of the stenographer for the group, like the secretary of the club.
See, now he's sandbagging.
The-
No, it's
yeah.
not me. I'm just,
It's too modest is what it is.
I'm just a simple caveman. I don't know your ways.
He's under.
Oh, this is
He's too modest. He's far too modest.
But seriously, we do. I do go with the flow. If somebody says you should go down to Third Street, or wherever, I go there. I move with the crowd.
With the crack of a bat.
With the crack of the bat.
And how long have you been doing this this crusading?
Well, it's only been 228 days.
That's it?
That's it.
I've only been with him about what?
I mean, I'm at the nascent.
30,
You're like
40.
Jack Anderson when he's, I think maybe I think this Kennedy thing is, I think it's a little fishy, and I was there. Let's talk about just that for a minute.
Please.
We're still talking about that one.
Yeah.
Gerald Posner. No, one bullet.
Right.
Right. No, he did it.
He's a nice
My book,
guy.
case closed. That's it. I got my book.
Posner's a nice guy, but his arguments are quite ridiculous.
Well, you know why Posner? He went to his publisher and said, "Help me, please. I got to write something." Well, I mean, if you said that, well, you're not going to do this. Well, no, I'm just saying if you wrote that, maybe Oswald was right. I'll do it.
We're seeing a lot of that now, actually, in the press,
Right.
where it's very easily influenced, especially with YouTube-type journalists that have Patreon accounts and so forth. In the old days, Cronkite, you couldn't, 3 networks.
He was unimpeachable.
Yeah, you just wouldn't even listen to you. But with the Patreon account, folks who are really, they're trying to make ends meet in a lot of cases.
Well, they've got direct communication with their audience, you mean, and they can be influenced by.
Well, if an outside influence came in and said, "Hey, we're going to upgrade your studio and give you, better cameras, and microphones, and so forth."
See, that ruins it. That's
Yes.
over. That's
right.
then
Yeah.
you're. That's why I sell a mug. I make 3 cents a mug.
Buy a Lionel mug.
You can
Buy a Lionel
buy-
mug. Lionel Nation. Become a part of the
Right.
Lionel
But I'm
Nation.
glad you brought up JFK because we always hear in murder movies and everything, it's about motive, means, and opportunity. But George talks about metadata and modus operandi. And when you go back, see, you asked before, what's the goal? He just wants somebody to call out, Owan Brothers. Mine's a little bit more lofty and idealistic. I want us to bring down what I see as the largest criminal syndicate in human history that rose to power by assassinating JFK, installing Lyndon Johnson as
Oh,
president, creating
nothing like thinking
the first
small.
for-profit war in the war in Vietnam, and carrying on that activity to this very day.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite clear when you look at the modus operandi.
Let me give you another example. Another one. You're gonna love
Sure.
this because I just got into this and say, boy, you kids, you know, you'll learn. I have a very dear friend of mine, Charles Ortel, who wrote out the most amazing dissection indictment proof of Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the Clinton Health Access Initiative about a $100 billion, roughly unprosecuted, not a Ponzi scheme, a criminal conspiracy that makes the Gambino family look like the Junior League.
Yeah.
All right? So, in comparison. And he lays it out, and they said, what? And when they raised money for Haiti, they raised $10 billion, they never got anything. They want to kill the Clintons in Haiti. And then, of course, it was a watered-down AIDS drugs. Like, oh, my God, watered-down AIDS. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Nothing.
Well, and Peter Schweitzer, I think, is another one in that, and Larry Nichols way before him with Clinton Chronicles. And what we're trying to do with this series is bring individuals like you in, and Charles Ortel we've talked to, where you get a little bit more than 2 minutes. I know you did a spot on RT tonight, and I hope you got more than 2 minutes. But
oh, yeah.
when you, a little bit more time, but on Fox, you know, you tend to be, they only give you 2 or 3 minutes.
Right.
But they also, Fox is great, but they're not going to, especially now, this new iteration of Fox. Ailes is gone, O'Reilly is gone, Hannity, and Alice at the Rich. No. Okay, all right, okay. The family. Don't you want to find out? No, don't. Don't find out who killed our son. No, please.
That's quite crazy.
Okay.
But that's what we enjoy.
I mean, isn't that weird? Nobody go, who killed him? You know, the mothers of the disappeared.
Yeah.
And have you seen this child? Under the Fox, they no, don't bring up the kid. No, you might find him. No rewards, no interest. No, let it be. Don't just. Shh. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand this. That one made no sense.
Right.
And Sean said, "Okay."
He didn't back down though. He didn't pull back on his. He's still saying he stands by his reporting on that, which is good to see.
Which is good. Yeah. I mean, the thing that we like about this kind of format here is that just the whole nature of the internet and the commoditization of high-quality production tools. You really couldn't do something like this if you had a network where you needed to.
No.
Yeah.
First of all, let me explain. You have to imagine if I said to you, now listen, he's a great George, fantastic painter. I want you to paint something for me on this little tiny. No canvas, no room.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
That's the first thing, truncated. Then they'll say, and I want you to use just this one color. What? In this little tiny thing. So don't talk about this.
Yeah.
Don't talk about. Because what I want to do is I want to say the stuff that anything that people say. Oh no, that's what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about. I mean, I went this past weekend to the it's called the Left Forum. And have you ever been to one of those? Oh. Oh my God! It's bless their heart, as we say in the South. Bless their heart. They mean a lot of Birkenstock sock crowd, tie dye, this and Che T-shirts, and a kind of a confused anger about something,
Right.
And there's no, you understand the water's dead. And in this next room, we have a panel starting at 3 o'clock on the declining bee populations. I say, okay, now what do you want to do with this? I don't know. No, but what do you want to do about it? What do you want to do? I don't know what you're talking about. Take for example, climate change.
Yeah.
Which is, what's the word? Bullshit. All right. Now, I know you're not supposed to say that because that's a religion.
Very unpopular.
Yeah, that is a religion.
Yeah.
And critical thinking is a problem too because the issue is, what is your issue? What do you call climate change? Climate change, you mean weather scenes? No. You mean anthropogenic causation models. Yes, I guess. I mean, you're saying man is doing this. That were it not for my car, it would be this, and then when no vicissitudinal weather change. Yes, that's it. Okay, and of course, a polar bear would not be clinging to the ice cube, which was an iceberg.
Right.
I got it right because of what? Carbon dioxide. Okay, good. You do realize that there is no carbon dioxide is not a
It's
poison.
Right.
It's
an
not
element.
And there's these great things in history called the hypsithermals and the Holocene maxima 6,000 years ago, where I mean, it was like, it's like what if the world is, you know, there was no ice at all, and somehow the polar bears made it. And then, very, very quickly, I find this fascinating. People who are, again, instant experts. Because as you know, people say, I think you're wrong because,
watch CNN.
see, I'm my son-in-law is a geek guy, and he knows, and you're all wrong. I'm like, oh, you're an expert in IT. Yeah, sure, no, the Pakistan, no. Sir, you're pulling this out of your arse. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what I'm talking about. But so there were these two graphs. People go, look at this, Al Gore. And here you see carbon dioxide and temperature.
Yeah.
Therefore, the more carbon dioxide, the more temperature.
Right.
And somebody said, no, it's the opposite. The higher the temperature, the more carbon dioxide there is. What? I never thought about that. Well, it's either or. So even that little premise right now throws everything off. All right, stop right there. So I look at somebody, and they say, I said, you're upset with me now, aren't you? Yes. Why? Why? You should be happy. You should be happy. What if I say, hey guys, cigarettes don't cost smoking. Smoke them if you got them. You don't cry when you find out something. You should be happy that we're not doing anything and that there's nothing you can do. And there's no amount of carbon tax that Al Gore or Maurice Strong, the late Maurice Strong, can charge because it doesn't really matter. So you should be happy about this. No, I'm not. Why? Because this was my thing. I had a T-shirt. I had T-shirts made.
Signs.
It gave me it's who I was.
Yeah.
I marched. And now you're telling me that, no. So you're telling me that, what, Al Gore, so it's nothing to do with the facts, reality. It's like, this was my thing and you're taking it away from me. And plus, I don't like you and I hate you people. And that's the mentality, because we have weaponized thought to the point that it's about the argument and not the argument, not the facts, just how it's gone. They asked my wife, friends of hers, he goes, hey, you want to march in this women's parade? Yeah. I say, well, I'm going to wear a pussy hat, and I'm going to go as, it's called that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go as swollen pudenda, foam rubber.
Giant vagina costume.
Well, actually, a vulva.
Yeah.
Because the vagina is internal.
Sorry.
That's okay, no problem. Interesting, by the way, there was a case in Florida that the judge dismissed, ruled the statute unconstitutional. A woman was sunbathing, and they charged her with exposure of sexual organs. He says, no, those are internal. Can't see them, unless it was a speculum. So see, there you go. Well, my point is, there are people who marched, and they're like this, hey, you know, I'm going to show my kids, here I am in my pudenda outfit and my vulva. And Madonna talked about, I don't know what, and
killing Trump is what she talked, blowing up the White
House. Yeah, blowing
up
up the White House, nobody really, you could tell, they go,
amazing.
Madonna. Nobody even cared about it. Not even a call, not even a call. Secret Service, nothing. And then one of the judges talked about her period or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, and I remember turning to my wife, I said, I remember, and it was during the Vietnam War, and I was old enough to know, people marched and they cared. I said, what is this? And you are trying to explain Pakistani IT, and then you have this thing. You have that thing that we carry. This changed everything. That's right, the business card. No, this. So what happened was this changed everything, because now I have a friend.
Little brother, as you've called it.
Little brother, and now I tweet, therefore I am, and I'm going to. This is my thing, and I don't need you, and I don't need friends. I'm serious. Yeah. And I'm saying, George Webb. Oh yeah, you Webb. You, Jason, fuck you. Ooh, look, I got a like. Ooh, I like this. Ooh, they hate me. And meanwhile, no, I'm serious. This is exactly, now, I'm not suggesting people watching this now are thinking that, but this is this wonderful, wonderful instant arena also inspires people to do stuff. I'm sure the guy who said, hey, look, you know how we can't skin animals? I made this thing. I call it a knife. Here, you want to try it? Why? You know, probably died. You know, so whenever you have something, there's a double-edged sword,
Right,
literally.
right.
So you're finding that out right now, and I'm doing it, and I calmed down. I went through my 9/11 period where I couldn't sleep at night, and I want to go to people and say, "Oh, don't you care about Building 7?" I said, "What am I doing?" And I'm okay with the fact that nobody cares about anything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Some people do, but there's not this. But if
At this point, for me, I'm almost seeing how high can the evidence get before somebody does say a one. I'm just, it's an academic exercise maybe where you know, just like how much case do you have to bring?
excuse me, but I still have got now watch this building. Okay. Carpet fire brought that down symmetrically.
The
and the
desks,
desk.
they got hot.
Any questions?
Yeah.
No, right there. I was on, and I use this as an example. I was on radio at the time. WOR. It was at night, and I said, they said, well, Flight 93. And I said, what's Flight 93? Shanksville. What are you talking about? Because I was here during 9/11. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And I was still reeling from that. And he goes, you know, the plane is it just about? I'm on Google. I'm looking at this. And I said, what? You mean the Let's Roll, the Todd Beaver? Yeah, I said, I don't see it. Is there a picture? Yeah, look at the picture of the crash. I said, where is it?
Yeah.
They said, there it is. I said, what? It was this little dimpled little thing with some steam and a fire truck. I said, where's the plane? Now I said it. I'm doing my Hervé Village show. I go, where's the plane? Where's the plane? So one of the people said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm looking at the picture. Where is the plane? I said, I'm just asking. Well, where do you think the plane went? I said, it's your story. I didn't even know. You tell me there's a plane. Where is it? Well, and this is where they pull it out of the rest. You see what happens is, George, when the plane flies that fast,
Right.
and it hits the ground, it atomizes and vanishes. They proved it. And then they make things up.
Right.
So anyway, I've been talking. I said, there's no plane there. And I was going crazy. You got to listen to me. And then the 5th anniversary, they had, it was CBS News. I was watching, it was Katie Couric and this guy, Steve Hartman. He says, and here I am at Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And I'm talking to so-and-so King, who was the head of the volunteer fire department. And Chief King, what did you find when you attended? He said, there was nothing there. And Katie, there's nothing here now. I said, stop it! Stop it, there's nothing here. Did you hear what I'm saying? Did you hear it? They even said it. And I wanted to go down 57th Street, break down the door, go, you just said there's nothing. What? How can you, what do you mean there's nothing? And it never stopped. And finally I said, they just don't want to. I don't understand the mechanism of it.
I'm glad you brought it up because it's.
No, you're not. You're just saying.
No, I am because people might say, well, this is way far afield of what we normally discuss, but
What?
George talks
that
about.
was a very clever way of saying I just veered from what you talked about.
No.
That was very.
You didn't.
But Janet couldn't have done a better job.
No,
of that.
Jennick's good.
You didn't veer because what I'm saying is George, I'm learning a lot from George. George deals with metadata, frequency analysis, pattern recognition, and even in what you're saying, an event so vastly different than the murder of Seth Rich, than the infiltration of the IT department in Congress. We're seeing the same pattern and practice of behavior of just churning out nonsense.
That was very good the way you brought it all back. The way you said, even though you're talking about something that we're not talking about, I'm going to try to rehabilitate you, Lionel, by connecting the two. But even though he talked about something we don't give a shit about, it was still there is a connection.
No.
Mine's even worse though. You got to do metadata. I'm saying mine's simpler. Look, there's no play.
But yet they
How about
convince you
this?
that
There
something
was no
happened
Seth
that
Rich.
didn't.
That's kind of like on my part, not metadata at the Pakistani. That's tough. Mine's even easier. You think you're going to have any luck with metadata? What I'm saying, look at this. What about that one? What about, no, sir, the Pentagon.
Where's the plane there? Where's one photo of a plane?
And you
anywhere near
think
the
you're
place?
gonna, I mean, I can't even convince them of that one.
I'm just hopeful that the reach that we can achieve, and not George and I or you yourself, but the we of responsible, thoughtful, intelligent people who are utilizing social media, who are utilizing the internet. Like, George and I are going out there.
Let me suggest a thing to you. You're trying to do a closing argument to a jury, 3 points, 4 points. Number one, What's the most important point? Okay, you got my attention. I'll give you 30 seconds. What is it? Why do I care about this? Is this something to do with, are we getting to the killer of Seth Rich? Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about just the infiltration or the contamination of the election?
Last night with this WikiLeaks tweet, and I'm telling you, it's like watching genius unfold before my eyes. It led George to the murder of Molly McCauley. And the possibility that the murder of Seth Rich, the whole Seth Rich case, investigation, is to cover the murder of this NASA scientist.
Yeah, it's, again.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the detective?
Wheeler, I hope you'll. I know you were very busy, but we just published an interview that we did.
I think I saw it.
You did?
Yeah,
great,
I did.
Great. Well, you tell me. What about the detective? You're a prosecutor. You've seen testimony from police officers. What was your impression of it?
Well, I mean, it seemed like he was almost like reluctant to say, like, well, you know. I mean, there's nobody banging on the door saying.
That's us.
Well.
Yeah.
What about the Rich family? Have you talked with them? Anybody?
We haven't. We tried to contact Aaron Rich.
There's a PR front in front of both of them. I mean, Brad Bauman is the kind of the PR front, and you know, ex-SEIU guy. You know, so he's not going to let anybody into the thing.
Real lockdown on any information related to Seth Rich.
There's something that happens, and maybe this has a parallel, and I don't understand this. Have you ever heard anybody in the Kennedy family ever talk about John Kennedy?
No.
They get killed.
Do you know how many? Well, it's funny you say that. I asked one time, I interviewed Kathleen Kennedy. I think she's the eldest. She was the lieutenant governor of Maryland or something. I said, first question, how many Kennedys are there? I mean, top to bottom, cousins, just all the way down. How many? Give me a number. She said, I don't know. That's good. Christmas cards would be like, I don't know. Okay. I have this thought experiment. No proof of this, but somebody says, okay, Georgie, Jason, you're the Kennedy. You're 18. Here's your trust account. Here's your passbook. But let me explain something to you. You're going to be there someday, and you're going to be in a bar. You're going to meet a girl or a guy. You're trying to make an impression. And they're going to say, hey, I'm kind of a Kennedy assassination scholar. What do you think? We don't talk about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? You never hear anybody. Bobby Kennedy Jr. was as close to it as now.
Very little.
Now, Prince Harry, his mother, whacked by obvious. Come on, I mean, nothing. They don't even say anything about the fact that his father, Major Hewitt, who's a dead ringer, is almost done. Nothing. So, with that in mind, I don't know what happens when you are involved in something at that level. Why is it that you're so disinterested in somebody coming forward and saying, this is what I think?
I think there's got to be outside influence, but it's hard to answer.
Oh, no, please.
So, Lionel, I hope we can have you again sometime. It's just delightful to have you here, and I hope we can have you back again.
And whatever you do, don't second guess why you're doing it. Should I do it? Don't count the amount of days like some AA, I'm counting days, I got my chip. Don't do that. But what you should do is just understand that it simplify, not that it's fantastic, but to the guy who has 30 seconds who says,
you're right.
Here's the 3 things you got to know.
You're right.
This is the first thing. This, and this.
Well, Lionel, thanks very much.
Thank you
See
so
you
much.
soon.
I hope to do it again, George. It's
Thanks,
just a
Lionel.
pleasure. God bless you. If there was a God, I hope he would bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.